Welcome to the Costa Property Podcast, the podcast that turns your dreams of owning a piece of paradise on the Costa del Sol into reality. I'm Warner Laurie, and I'm joined by my co-host and wife, Sandra Laurie.
Join us as we embark on navigating the ins and outs of real estate and relocation to this beautiful region.
We're not just about market trends, we're about sharing real-life experiences, because we know the struggle firsthand and I've helped many people navigate this challenge also.
If you're dreaming of your perfect Costa del Sol home and want to get real, no-frills, expert advice, then you're absolutely in the right place. Join us each week as we share honest insights and information that will guide your journey. Owning a home in Spain can really feel like a dream come true, but if you're not careful, it can quickly turn into a nightmare. Navigating the Spanish property market can be tricky, especially if you're not familiar with the local nuances. That's why today we're going to uncover the top 3 mistakes buyers often make, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to extend your property portfolio, this episode is packed with valuable insights to help you make informed decisions and avoid common pitfalls. We are going to discuss everything from understanding the unregulated landscape of real estate to financial considerations and ensuring you don't get caught off guard by hidden costs. But before we get started, Warner, please enlighten us with the Spanish word of the day.
Hi Sandra, the Spanish word of today is piscina. And piscina means swimming pool. And after this podcast, I'm going to go for a swim.
Enjoy. Let's dive into the episode. How was your swim in the pool, Warner?
Oh, it was amazing, Sandra. Feeling the cold water and this hot temperatures is just bliss. I'm so blessed to have our own swimming pool.
Amazing. So Warner, I'm going to dive straight in and I really want to explore mistake number 1. So in your opinion, what is the one mistake that you see buyers make all the time and how can they avoid it?
The top mistake that I see buyers all the time is they think they can do it alone. You know, they think they can come over here, find the property, navigate the legal system, and it just doesn't work. So I always recommend hiring a great lawyer because the lawyer has obviously got experience in the Spanish legal system. They'll take your hand and talk you through the step-by-step all the way to the notary so that you're confident that everything will be fine.
Mm-hmm. So the lawyer is like really helping to do the due diligence and prepare for any surprises.
Yeah, absolutely. The lawyer will make sure all the paperwork is intact. They'll make sure that the finances and everything else that you have is sufficient to buy the property. So they just give you peace of mind. Like just this week, there was a client there that was buying a property off me and they choose not to use the lawyer. The real estate agent acted on their behalf. And when they went to the notary, they were short money, so they couldn't buy the property. So if they'd hired the lawyer would have spoke to the seller's lawyer and everything would have went fantastic. So, you know, number 1, make sure you have a great legal team and hire a lawyer. They know what they're doing.
Yes, I assume like when it comes to this topic, costs, which we know are different and they're structured differently to your home country. So you really need the support of a great lawyer to really level with you and explain how they're going to be structured. And that type of situation that you mentioned there could be avoided because I would imagine that led to a lot of panic in the end of the transaction that could have been mitigated and avoided. And, you know, it's like this, right? You're not expected to be a legal expert in Spain, particularly if you're coming from another country. You know, your area of expertise, your zone of genius is real estate. Although I know that you know the legal process pretty well from navigating it with clients over the years, but you would never claim to be a legal expert. So it's essential really for peace of mind that you hire a good lawyer. I would totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, so when the client comes to me, they're looking to buy a property, the first thing I always recommend is to go and see a lawyer. And once they go and see the lawyer, you can see the peace of mind that they have. And then it's up to me to step 2 is to find them the property.
Amazing. Okay, so speaking of step 2 and the number 2, what is the second most common mistake that you see buyers make?
Number 2 would be they come over, they view different properties, they see a property that they love, but they're not ready. Their finances are not ready. They've not got their NIE number, which you need to buy a property in Spain. They don't have a lawyer in place. So all of these is very difficult when they love the property, they think this property is for them. To actually buy this property is very complicated.
I would imagine that leads to disappointment, because we always talk about how fast the market is moving over here. And one of the key things to avoid that disappointment is to prepare and do your due diligence. Understand, do you need a mortgage? Understand your financial situation. Have your lawyer ready. Really make sure that the property that you see, that you want, that you've really spent time around your requirements and really nailed that piece. So when people contact you to reach out for the property, obviously we love that. But I do always see, a little bit of a look of horror in your face when they are dead set on purchasing one of your properties, but they're not prepared. So in that situation, what do you do with the client? Where do you go from there when they reach out to you, set on buying a property, but they're not ready?
Well, then that's when I need to sit down with them and go over my buyer's guides, make sure that they understand that this is a process. You can't come over and buy a property without knowing the rules to buy it. So this is why I've provided the buyer's guide, so that when people are sitting at home, they can click on the buyer's guide and it gives you the step-by-step, which will give you the idea of how to buy a property. And once you have everything in place, when you find that dream property, it's very easy to buy it. The Spanish system over here is so easy for international buyers and foreign investment. You could literally buy a place in 2 weeks, or for how long if you need a mortgage. So it works for you, but you need to know the rules.
So in that situation, it's almost like taking a step back, getting out the pen and paper, and really being clear on where you're at. We do talk about this a lot in other podcast episodes, specifically some of our earlier episodes where Warner really talks about the first things that you need to do. On the website, you can also download the buyer's guide, or if you reach out to us on our socials or drop us an email, we will be happy to share the links of that with you. So now I would like to talk about mistake number 3. What's the third mistake, most common mistake that you see people make, Warner?
Number 3 would be, you have the person, they're going to see the properties, because the market is moving so fast, they get FOMO, the fear of missing out, and they just rush in and buy that property because it may have ticked a couple of boxes, but then they decide, is that property for me? So what I would recommend them is go through your checklist, make sure that all the points are crossed, and make sure the property is 100% for you before you actually go all in and pay the deposit.
Yeah, I would say just to even bring that to life a little bit more, this typically can happen when someone is maybe sitting in their home country, not in Spain, and they're searching on property portals and they find a property that looks aesthetically good and on paper matches their requirements. They send an inquiry for this property, they come over, pay the deposit, and then afterwards they're spending a little bit of time driving around and they realize, this isn't really fully for me. Now, it is common when this happens that you will end up losing your deposit. And this is why it's really important to nail your requirements first. So take time to research the area, really understand where you want to be and what are the goals for your property. We have an amazing resource, which is a checklist all about nailing your requirements that we have developed for you that can support you with this. Because the last thing that we want is that you fall into the FOMO trap, as Warner has described. You come over and act too quickly. Warner always says, the market is moving fast, but...
Yeah, the market is moving fast, but I always believe in fate. If it's for you, it won't go by you. So if you miss that property, then, there'll be another one that comes along. And I've always had it where people did miss out on the property, but then they came back and a couple of months later, they found another property which actually more suited their needs, and then they come back to me and they say, I'm so glad I didn't buy that property. And I said to them, look, you have to always make sure that it's 100% for you. There is loads of properties, but if you miss one, then you'll be prepared for the next one that comes along that suits your requirements.
I love that. And that's such an honest perspective on it, and I do agree with you. I do hear that time and time again. Sometimes the first property that they fall in love with is usually not where they end up. And that's usually a positive experience and turns out correctly in the end. So just to recap on your advice. So to avoid the common mistakes, Warner absolutely recommends to hire a lawyer, somebody who is experienced at navigating the Spanish property market, somebody who can do your due diligence for you and really spend the time to preempt and avoid any mistakes or any surprises that could impact your purchasing journey. Hire a lawyer. Number 2, prepare. Really take the time to understand your personal circumstances. If you need a mortgage, have you had the pre-approval? Understand the taxes and costs that you're going to be exposed to, and have you taken that into consideration in your overall purchasing budget? And again, hire a lawyer. That is part of your preparation. Number 3, don't rush. Don't fall into the FOMO trap, and trust the process. The right property will be there for you. Yes, the market is moving quickly, but trust that what's for you will not go past you. Now, if you haven't already downloaded our free buyer's guide, do it. You can access it via our website or drop us a DM on socials or pop us an email, and we will ensure that you get the access to that, because this has been developed to specifically support you to navigate challenges that you could be exposed to when purchasing a property in Spain. And it also helps you to prepare. If there's any questions that you'd like us to answer specifically, don't hesitate to reach out to us on Instagram. The link is in the show notes, and we will speak to you soon. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and adios for now.
Adios.
If you enjoy our podcast and want to help us to keep bringing you great content, the best way to support us is by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, but it makes a huge difference, because your ratings and reviews help more listeners to discover our show. And it keeps us motivated to continue doing what we love and bringing you more content for free. Plus, we love hearing your feedback. Thank you so much for listening into today's episode on the Costa Property Podcast. Another fantastic episode learning about the highs and lows of relocating to the Costa del Sol from real people who have been through the journey themselves, and of course our wonderful experts. If you have been enjoying the show so far, remember to hit subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating or review.
We absolutely love hearing your thoughts. Please send any questions that you would like us to answer on the show to warner@wlcostaproperties.net. Or you can pop us a message on our socials, which are in the show notes. Remember, you can also visit the website, www.wlcostaproperties.net.
See you on the next episode, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.